Hey everybody, I'm Nate, and this is the Shiny Shiny Black YouTube channel. And I got a fun little project here tonight. Amber's guitar doesn't have a button for her strap. So if you've ever seen her play live, her strap goes on the bottom of the guitar over here, and then it goes all the way out over to here because it's tied to the neck on the guitar. Kind of annoying. A lot of acoustic guitars, for whatever reason, don't ship with a button down low like a lot of electric guitars do. So we're gonna fix that tonight. So first thing we gotta do is get our guitar. It's a beautiful Larivee, little parlor guitar. Sounds awesome. Sounds real good. And we're gonna put a strap button right in there. We're gonna figure out the exact location here in a second. But first, we gotta kind of prep our area. So first thing is we don't want to scratch the guitar or damage it while we're working on it. So we're gonna lay down just a ye old bath towel for it to land, because it's gonna have to be face down on the table while we're working on it. So we'll set that like so. Okay. And then, because it's going to be face down, we want to make sure everything's cool. This is a little tripod for the guitar to sit on. And we're going to put this little cloth over that just to kind of make sure. And it's nothing fancy, just a washcloth and a bath towel. But I just want to make sure the guitar is nice and taken care of. Okay, so we're going to get the guitar out here. All right. And we want to make sure that we're going to put the strap on the right part of the guitar, right? So we'll use the bottom of this to check it, but we need to make sure if we're holding it, the strap needs to go underneath right here, okay? So now that we got that, we'll lay this down. And then we want to make sure that the strap is on here in a way that's secure, but still free to move, okay? And it doesn't have to be too precise, but now that we've kind of got that, we're gonna make but you know, we want it to be kind of the midpoint here, and also just enough that the end of that isn't rubbing, right? So our button's gonna end up right in there, and we're gonna use this little screwdriver to make a little tiny mark. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of pressure onto the wood right there, so we know exactly where we're going. Okay, see that little dent we made? Okay, now we also want to be careful not to mess up the finish on there while we're doing this. So we're gonna put a little bit of painter's tape so that when we drill into that little hole, that we're not gonna mess it up. Okay. Now, one thing I gotta look at, double check here, I made a big mistake, is that this, I wanna make sure it's not gonna go in here and stick out the other side, right? So that would be bad. I don't want that. And so, I'll find out how much this is sticking out, kind of like that. So I think if we're down in here, we should be okay. All right, so we just want to make sure before we have a screw head sticking out here. And that looks awful close. So I want to make sure that's going to be angled in just a little bit like that. And that makes me nervous. Okay, well, it's a little tricky because of how this gets thicker, but I'm not sure if it gets thick enough fast enough. I'm just gonna be eyeballing that. Man, I don't like that.
It looks thick enough.
It does, but man, if we're wrong, it's gonna be a bad deal. So.
Can we put it lower?
Yeah, I think I might move it that way just a little bit. So we'll make a second mark here, and it'll be okay because this first one will be covered up by this first strap button, or by the strap button. Okay, So I'm gonna do that. So now, I'm gonna take and put this little piece of tape on here. Okay. We wanna rub till we can find that mark. I might have to take a little bit of a pencil here. Rub over our holes. So now we can see our 2 holes now. See those? You see them? Okay. So we want to go for the lower one.
I'll point them out right now.
Okay. So now we're going to get our drill going here. Okay, and where'd that drill bit go? It wasn't right under here, I thought. Of course, I had it set to the side, and then it must have rolled on me. Give me a second. Just make sure I can find this.
Did it like go on the floor?
No, I don't believe it went on the floor.
Did you put the towel on top of it?
Yep.
There it goes. We found it.
Yay. Okay, so we put this back in here. Make sure that's all nice and secure. Okay. So now we want to make sure that we're kind of flat to this plane, and we want to make sure that this was smaller than the threads, but roughly the same size as the solid part of the screw. See that little shaft in between the blades, if you will, on the screw? So we want to make sure that this is smaller enough, but that it's going to still go in pretty easy and grab on pretty good. And we want to stop just a little short, or right at this. And so we're going to make a little mark. I'm going to take a little bit of tape here. Okay. We're going to wrap it. I've been holding in that exact same spot this whole time, okay? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to take our tape and stick it on there like so, so that we've got a little marker. Now we don't want to get this wrong, so we're going to double check and make sure our length is pretty good. Okay, so that's about right.
Why does it need to be a certain length?
Because we don't want to go in to the wood any longer than that's going to, especially since we're worried about coming out the other side, right? Mm-hmm. So the next thing is that we want to be parallel to this, or perpendicular to the plane that is the side of this, okay? Mm-hmm. So we're going to put this in our drill here and tighten that down real nice, and then lock the chuck, and here goes nothing. You ready? Mm-hmm. Okay, so now we got that out. Set that over here. I'll peel this off, and praise be, nothing came out the other side. Okay, so that's good. And now just clean that up a little bit, make sure that's good. And now we're gonna take a little bit of this, here it is, this beeswax. So this is natural beeswax, okay? And that's gonna make it so that our screw goes in real nice. Oop. And doesn't squeak and squawk and all that stuff as we're tightening it down. So we're gonna go ahead and dip that in there, see that? Get a nice amount on there, okay? And then we're gonna put it through our strap button, okay? And we're gonna put that in there. go ahead and tighten this down real nice and tight. So, and I can feel it's going in nice and smooth, but it's also grabbing on real good. Oh, there we go. That's nice and tight. And now you can see there's just a little hint of that beeswax sticking out around the edges, so we want to wipe that off so that it's not getting on the strap and all that. Okay. So.
Is it solid wood inside? Or
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And
because if it wasn't wood, like if it's not so hollow, if it's hollow on the inside, what would happen? Like since we put the beeswax in there.
well,
Like, is it okay? Like,
yeah.
Is it
So
good to eat?
any guitar would be solid right
Yeah.
there.
But
That's not like a toy.
Is there a specific reason why we're using bees?
Oh, so
rather
that's
than
just a
anything else?
woodworker's trick for when you're putting screws in, especially old woodworkers before they had drills screw guns. Would use beeswax to help the screw go in nicely. Partly it's a natural material, right? And it just kind of makes everything go in real nice and smooth, but still, can be soaked into the wood, so it's not gonna create any kind of a bad effect, I guess, with the wood. It's just something that's naturally occurring. Okay, so now we can take this and untie it. Yeah, and I'm embarrassed to admit how long I was doing stuff with wood before I learned that was used to be normal practice, and once I learned it and started using beeswax, turns out that it is a great old trick that a lot of people who worked with hand tools and didn't have all the advantages, the mechanical advantages we do now, knew about that trick for a long time, because they had to, right? So, all right, now we can undo this and put this on here, like so. Copper. All right. And then the other end is gonna go on here. All right. Nice. All right. So now, do that, and now, I get the car on the chair. Voila. Now, Mom's clearly shorter than me, right? But